I'd like to do some magic for the people. Oh, fuck you. Hey, look, a little dead bunny rabbit. It's magic. Fuck you. Hey, look, it's a chicken with a spike through its fucking head. It's an illusion. Fuck you. I'm gonna tie myself up like Houdini. Oh, I can't get out. I can't get out. Magic, I'm free. Fuck you. I'm fooling you. I'm fooling you and you don't like it. All right, nothing up my sleeves. It's a bird. It's magic. Fuck you. All right. All right, pick a fucking card. All right, look at it, remember it, and keep it in your fucking brain. Is it the two of clubs? No. Fuck you. It's magic. He was lying. Let's try it again. All right, pick a fucking card. Look at it, remember it, and keep it in your fucking brain. Is it the nine of hearts?
Yeah.
Fuck you! It's magic! Alright. I'm gonna stab myself. Who's gonna stop me? Fuck you. Ow, it hurts. It's magic. Go home and try that trick. Any knife will do. Alright. Watch close. Shut the fuck up. Alright. Now you got to guess if the ball's in the hand or the pocket. Ready? Hand or pocket? Hand, fuck you, pocket. It's magic. Alright, let's try it again. Ready? Hand or pocket? Fuck you, pocket. You people are stupid. I'm fooling you and you don't like it. All right, let's try it once more for the stupid people. You know who you are. Maybe you don't know who you are. All right, ready? Hand or pocket? Fuck you, pocket! It's magic. All right, try and make it a little easier for you. Is it in this hand or the other one? This one? Fuck you! Thank you very much.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Dedicate this one to Punks for Progress. Punks for Progress.
Punks for Progress, stand for anarchy. Fight for your liberty. We don't want your government. We don't need your services. I'm an anarchist. I'm an anarchist.
Punks for Progress on YouTube and Facebook. Thanks, brother.
That sounds right up my alley.
It's always a good day when you hear a punk say the word righteous.
Here we are in a new age! Wishing we were dead! There's the TV in my front room, and it's screwing up my head! There's the shower in the toilet, the watches in the bar, and there's a picture of Hiroshima to make sure you never die! Somebody told me that that was what to do! Somebody else said that was not true! Who do you believe?
Hey! Welcome to Punks for Progress Weekly What the Fuck Report. I'm Reverend Aaron. That there's Punker Mike. What's up, Punker Mike?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Fuck, man. Pretty good. George H.W. Bush fucking died. Dude, is that not fucking incredibly awesome?
Some people. Dude, 94 though, bro. Come on.
Way too fucking long. Why does, like, destroying, like, hundreds of thousands of people's lives and, like, ignoring the AIDS crisis and all this shit.
Taking small countries.
Yeah. Coup d'etats. Who knows what demented, fucked up shit he did when he was head of the CIA. Yeah, I mean, it's not like, I mean, he was done. It's not like he was a world player anymore, but, so it's not like, you know, when McCain died, McCain was still involved in ruining people's lives, you know, so.
Yeah, he made little pushes that continued on.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's fucking cool. I'm stoked that piece of shit died. Weren't you said something about partying with, you partied down with Christian Hosoi or some shit?
Yeah, check this out, bro. I was at a tattoo party today with Christian Hosoi. What do you think about that, huh?
I think that's pretty fucking cool. Did you guys get matching, like, Hello Kitty tattoos and stuff? Or?
Excuse me. Nah, man, tap back. I'm telling you, those guys. Yeah, full-on tattoo party going on North Shore today, bro.
And what the fuck were you doing there?
Yeah, what the fuck was I doing there? I was cleaning the pool.
Damn right.
Little boy Mike showed up to clean the pool, and Christian Hosoi and all his friends were having a tattoo party in this house on Sunset Point today. And it was kind of cool. Very, very nice people.
So he was in town, obviously, for the Vans duct tape thing, and
yeah, for the skate jam, and all the other duct tape stuff they got going on. But I'm sure he's also in town for the Triple Crown. So he's a surfer, so he gets out there.
So speaking of both of those, the Triple Crown and the duct tape, we have videos. Mike went to both of those. Well, one is the Triple Crown of surfing. We got some footage from that. We did a whole video with it and put in a bunch of punk rock music. And then he just went to the Vans duct tape skate jam and got a bunch of video, and we threw in some more punk rock music and made a whole video out of that. And so those are both up on our channel. Make sure you check those out. But we really do have a whole show today.
Wow.
Of course, we have a So-Cal Shannon Scene Report. We are going to really dive deep into the background history, the lead up to Trump administration's horrible handling of, and what's going on now with the quote-unquote caravan. Dude, Just Jules was down there. She was down in Tijuana, where the migrant facilities are, if you can call them that. So I talked to her earlier today. We got a report back from her on that. But we're
FEMA camps.
Yeah. But it's an amazing, inspiring report from Just Jules. She's our Punks for Progress. She holds it down in Dago for us. So she's our San Diego Punk for Progress. But she's also involved in the Minority Humanitarian Foundation and anyway, she's just got a really great interview with her. But we're going to give you a lot more than that too. We're going to be talking about the 2009 coup that sort of, in a lot of ways, kicked off all of this stuff. We're going to be talking about the recent election in Honduras that was very significant in this whole Caravan thing. So we're really going to provide you with a full, well-rounded kind of coverage of.
Is it my recollection that Reagan and the Bush administration had some dealings going down in Central America back then, and maybe could have started all this bullshit that was going on in Honduras? And
the Trump administration having dealings there now. I mean, it's just an ongoing, long-time thing. So we're going to be covering all that.
Good show.
Just like how Mike kicks it way fucking hard with Christian Hosoi at tattoo parties. Daniel Ellsberg gave me a big, giant shout-out recently.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're laughing about. Author of the Pentagon Papers, the original sort of whistleblower. Yeah, he was like, Reverend Aaron straight up knows some shit. That's actually how he framed it, too. It was really out of character for him. But we got video of that. We got Kylie the Conquest has a new video out. We're going to talk about that a little bit. And yeah, lots and lots of other stuff. Starting right now with this video by WAB.
heroism, twisted wisdom. None of them business what you wear, who you love, how you look. We know you're definitely not a shook one. You are trying to fight, hands just begun. Heavily armed with rifles, not nice, we carry no guns. Second to none, never looking back until it's done. We stay against the grain, the brigade versus Babylon. Renegade stop, renegade men stop, renegade stop. Suck up big hip hop, we won't stop. Renegade stop, renegade men stop, renegade stop. Suck up big hip hop, we won't stop.
Okay, so we're back, and why don't we just go fucking right into it, bro? I want to get into a little bit of background, but you're gonna know everything there is to know about the Caravan, just about. But let's start kind of in the middle. We're gonna end on the real backstory and the real back history of what went down with Honduras and the 2009 coup, the recent election. We have, like I said, the report from Just Jules, so let's start kind of in the middle, which is a couple of weeks ago, Kirstjen Nielsen from Department of Homeland Security was down
the middle
at the border. Well, middle in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know.
Excuse me. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And
wasn't this before the election? Before our election, the midterms?
No, actually, this was after. So
right after?
Yeah, this was right after, and it was like, you know, the whole Trump administration and all the RNC mechanisms and stuff had pretty much stopped running their mouths about the Caravan and scapegoating and fear-mongering about the Caravan. But all the mechanisms and stuff were in motion. So Kirstjen Nielsen was just doing the follow-through and perpetuating the lie. But let's just get into it. We'll listen to her fucking run her disgusting scumbag fucking mouth. And because it's going to properly set up, you need to understand the narrative. Not that people don't know they haven't done the scapegoating, but I just want to show you how foul it is. And keep this in mind when we go through everything after this. Holy shit.
Well, thank you, Chief Scott, and thank you everyone for being here today. We greatly appreciate the opportunity to address you, tell you a little bit about what we're seeing and what we're doing about it. Before I begin, though, I just want to acknowledge the devastating wildfires currently ongoing here in Southern and Northern California. As you know, the Department of Homeland Security, we also have...
Right. We forgot to sweep the forest.
Right.
We've seen a very unfortunate...
But Trump came in and blamed all the firefighters and shit, so they handled it.
Because they didn't take care of the forest management. Isn't that under the National Forestry Department?
Uh-huh.
I do want to assure everybody...
Isn't that a federal agency? Just saying.
Conducting assessments so that communities can begin the process of rebuilding. So in addition to Chief Scott, I also want to...
So they can continue the process of completely denying funding for the proper rebuilding of the communities.
For your outstanding efforts here in San Diego
and do shit nothing about it.
As I always do to the dedicated men and women of CBP ICE, USCIS, and the U.S. Coast Guard, thank you. Thank your families for your ongoing commitment to keeping our borders and nation safe and secure. Your country thanks you. We appreciate
She puts ICE in with the Coast Guard.
I also want to thank our partners at the Department of Defense, who, as the Chief said...
Isn't Coast Guard like military to like you can get like drafted into the Coast Guard or you can join the Coast Guard as part of the military? I think it's part of the military.
It is one of the branches of the military. Yeah, I believe it's on...
It's sub-branch, isn't it, of the Navy?
Make no mistake.
That's a law enforcement agency.
Serious. You will not get into our country.
It is. No. It's a law enforcement agency. It's not military.
Installing wire like this, we now have miles of concertina wire at our ports of entry and elsewhere along our southern border. As we continue to see the arrival of additional Caravan members south of our border,
raised wire.
Opportunity to set the record straight on what is currently happening at the border.
She's gonna set the record straight, bro.
What we're doing about it. First, some critics and media have stated that DHS is overreacting to the presence of a few hundred migrants that are thousands of miles or weeks away from the United States. I'm here to tell you today that the reality is that there are currently over 6,200 individuals camped out south of the U.S. border in Tijuana today as I stand here. In Mexicali, there are more than 3,000 Caravan members. These two groups, combined with other caravans making their way through the northern triangle of Mexico, will result in approximately 8,000 to 10,000 migrants amassing along our southern border.
Bullshit.
The crisis is real, and it is just on the other side of this wall.
So, I gotta stop her there, because the crisis is real. Like, okay, so let's just say her numbers are right.
Those numbers.
Let's just say her numbers are right, bro. Let's just say they're correct. Okay, you haven't illustrated why that's a crisis, other than for those fucking people. You know, it's like, there's a lot of those fucking brown people that are coming. 8,000 brown people, bro.
They're amassing at our border.
Be terrified. Be terrified. And at this point, the massive majority of Americans understood that this was just bullshit. And they're just out there spewing it anyway. But here, look, she's going to spew some more.
Yeah, this is blatant propaganda.
That the Caravan is made up of mostly women and children who are fleeing violence in the Northern Triangle. The reality is that the majority of the Caravan that we see is made up of single adult males or teenage males.
It's a fucking lie.
In addition, we have identified over 500 criminals, to include known gang members,
families
contained in the flow of the Caravan.
500, they've identified 500 known criminals, bro. How come Fox News hasn't put even one fucking picture of these people? Because, I mean, no, MS-13 tattoos that shit on their face, bro. Like, well, I mean, where are these people? Where's one picture?
You've identified 500 of them? How come you haven't arrested them?
Right. It's just a fucking blatant, bald-faced fucking lie.
Wait, didn't Bush invade fucking Panama to go to execute an arrest warrant? You've identified these people as fucking criminals, but you won't go arrest them. That's bullshit. And you're right, they haven't put a fucking picture of any of them up.
And they would. If they'd have caught one fucking MS-13 member in there, we would have not heard nothing but about that. How right Trump was, and he proved it, and it's Middle East and whatever he called. What do you call them? Middle Easters or Middle Easterns? Yeah, there's Middle Easterns.
Middle Easterns.
Jesus. Anyway, there's more.
Repeated in U.S. media, we know that organizers of the Caravan have been pushing women and children and others to the front of the Caravan in hope that law enforcement will not engage them.
Fuck you, man.
This is particularly dangerous given the unusual propensity for violence we have seen in this Caravan. The assaults on border police in multiple countries and the use of incendiary devices.
I haven't heard of any assault on border police.
No, and saw nothing of incendiary devices.
Critics continue
non-existent.
All members of the Caravan are fleeing violence and thus deserve asylum. The
They are and they
reality is
do.
that based on historic trends, intel, and open source reporting, we believe that most of the Caravan members will make frivolous or unsubstantiated claims of asylum. Low standards for claiming a fear of persecution have allowed aliens with meritless claims to illegally enter our country, claim credible fear, and then in many cases be released pending lengthy proceedings, generally to disappear. In the last year, only 9%, 1 in 10, of those from the Northern Triangle who applied for asylum were determined eligible by a federal judge. More than 9 in 10 were found not to be eligible or chose not to complete the process. What is clear is that many of those who are here or en route to our southern border via these caravans are economic migrants or are seeking to be reunited with their families already in the United States. Wanting a job is not a basis for asylum under U.S. law. Wanting to be reunited with your family is not a basis for asylum under U.S. law.
All straw man bullshit.
In the United States, not a basis of asylum under U.S. law. While there are legal ways for individuals to seek all of these outcomes, falsely claiming asylum means that those with legitimate asylum claims are buried in the backlog.
Are they immigrants or are they asylum seekers?
I can't fucking handle her anymore. You know...
You should call them migrants. Are they migrants amassing at our border? Or are they asylum seekers that don't have any basis for asylum? Which is it?
The thing is, we have a fucking process to determine that. It's called you go to a port of entry, You come to the border of our country at a port of entry and apply for fucking asylum. And before they've even fucking got there, they're going, nah, these people are full of shit. We have done nothing to assess, we've done nothing at all to assess their status or where they're coming from or the legitimacy of their asylum claim, except that we've demonized them and called them MS-13 and Middle Easterns. And, but yeah, we're just letting you know, the Department of Homeland Security, that all of these thousands of people are fucking liars. They just want a job. They're coming to take our jobs. That's a dog whistle for. Yes, they want jobs. Fucking A, they want work. And
yeah, because they don't want to sponge off of anybody. They want a job so that they can support their family. They have no problem working. In fact, they'll even pick strawberries in the fucking sun, out in the heat, on their with their backs bent over, just so they can make some money to take home and feed their kids. They just want a job.
And
but it's okay because Jeff Bezos is taking over New York. So yeah, it's not about the brown people at the border. It's about the corporate welfare. Amazon coming in that doesn't pay any taxes, coming into New York City and supplying 5,000 jobs or some stupid number like that, and most of them are upper management. Yeah. But no, it's the brown people on amassing at the other side of the border. But corporate welfare is quite all right.
Yeah. Anyway. Well, speaking of amassing at the border, just Jules amassed at the border herself. But I did an interview with her earlier today.
That's so cool that she's down there, bro.
Oh my God, bro. It's beyond words. Beyond words. And
you had an interview with her, yeah?
Yeah, we talked to her earlier today, and she gave us the full rundown. So she's not only supplying, working with her group, the Minority Humanitarian Foundation, to get food, supplies, diapers, all kinds of stuff down there. She went down to Tijuana. She went to where these asylum seekers are being forced to stay in some of the most horrible conditions. But when you'll hear in her telling of it that the amount of hope and joy that these people have for having that this long, arduous, torturous, violent, so much violence visited upon them along the way, and crime and all this stuff. They're there now. And
yeah, but it's not as bad as where they came from.
It's just not even any. Yeah, exactly. But now that even though they're staying in the worst fucking conditions, they're. Oh my God. Anyway, let's let Jules.
And I'm like, okay, let me get this right. This is a Punks for Progress exclusive.
This is a Punks for Progress exclusive, and she's got a bunch of photos and there's this amazing little girl, Leslie, that her and her comrades from the Minority Humanitarian Foundation, what they have done for her is, again, it's just beyond words. So here, just go ahead, let's check it out, and then we'll come back and we'll get into, we still got to come back and get into the whole history of, backstory and history of what led to this and really fucked up this whole Central American region to begin with. But check it out. This is my interview with Just Jules. Hey, I am here with Just Jules. She is a part of the Punks for Progress family, but you're also involved with, I know I'm going to say this wrong, is it the Minority Human Rights?
It's the Minority Humanitarian Foundation.
See, I can't, for some reason, retain those words. I don't know why. Okay.
Yeah,
Minority Humanitarian Foundation.
Immigrants and refugees, and right now we're doing a lot of efforts down in Tijuana, helping the Caravan. And so, yeah, I just want to come on and talk to you guys a little bit about that.
Oh, man, I so appreciate it. So, because you've been doing a lot. I mean, not only have you been down to where these people are gathering, it's you were doing prep and working with your group to provide supplies. I mean, it's a lot. So let's see. Why don't we let's back up, I guess, and from the start. Now, I don't know when the start is. I guess it starts in 2009 with the Honduran coup. I don't know, maybe even before that. But let's start with the truck and the diapers. Let's start there.
All right, so the truck and the diapers. Well, basically, I mean, what we have right now in Tijuana is a humanitarian crisis. We have about 5,000 people. They're nowhere to go. They're in limbo, waiting for asylum. And, you know, there's children, there's women, there's men. They traveled, you know, several months from Honduras, and they're tired, they need food, they need diapers, so it has to be this big coordinated effort. And so right now, the communities are really coming together, and we're working together. We had a state assemblywoman donate truckloads of diapers. I think as of right now, we have about 100,000 diapers that we collected for them, with food, clothing, everything. They need everything, you know, medicine. And so right now, it's coordinating with all these different groups and getting people to, you know, drive trucks down. And, you know, people, you know, sometimes have been having problems getting things like used clothing over the border, not being let in. And so it just kind of, everyone's working together to get everything that, you know, all the donations we have here, down there, and to the people that need the most.
Wow.
And
fantastic.
so a lot of people, you know, they don't want to go to where the shelter is, because, I mean, honestly, you know, it's not in the best area. You know, it's in Tijuana, so people don't go to Mexico at all. And so, you know, we go down there, and it's, you know, it's a bit chaotic. There's about 5,000 people, and most of them are outside. So when you first go in, it's like, imagine an arena. So you walk in, and you know, there's tents set up everywhere, and you know, most of the men are outside, and they're in tents, or they're sleeping on the floor. And like when we walked in last night, we walked in, and there's a man like standing up on soapboxes, and they're doing church outside. As soon as you walk in, and people are around him, and they're watching. And we go around him, we go towards the back, and the back is gated. And so they're only letting women, children, and families in the back. And so those are the people who are sleeping, quote unquote, inside, but it's basically like a big open barn. I mean, it's very cold in there. You know, like there's hay leading up to the doors where you walk in. And you walk in, and I mean, it's just amazing. The first thing that really hit me is how happy the kids were. I mean, the kids, I mean, you could tell, like, they've really just been through it. This is a situation where, you know, they feel like, you know, finally they have some stability, and they're sleeping, you know, on the floor in, you know, this outdoor barn area. But they're playing soccer, and, you know, they're happy, and they're laughing, and there's people who have a food kitchen set up there, and just amazing people. And, you know, they're feeding 3 times a day, and the food in itself is a huge coordinated effort. And, you know, we're not dealing with that specifically. We're more dealing with the humanitarian side of it, going down and getting people to the doctors. Like last night we went, and there's this girl named Leslie. She's 7 years old. She doesn't walk. She doesn't talk. She has no control over her motor skills. And she's been like that since she was 2. And she's never had a formal diagnosis. Her dad pushed her in a wheelchair from Honduras. It took 2 months to make that journey. Her mom abandoned them when she was little, and he took her, you know, to the border because he needs health care. He wants the answers for his little girl. And so my friend Mark Lane found this girl there, and, you know, we started getting the process of going to the doctor. And last night she went to a neurologist for the first time, and they're trying to get answers for her and some sort of help. I mean, sorry, I just talked for a really long time.
No, I appreciate. I mean, you were sharing pictures of this little girl and her father in our P4P family chat, and just all of our jaws dropped. I mean, it's, you know,
you wouldn't believe how hopeful he was too. He's 27 years old, but if you look at him, I mean, he looks like he could be 19. He just seems so happy and hopeful. And we asked him, you know, so what do you think of the conditions here? And right away, bueno. He's like, you know, it's great. He said, you know, this is so much fun. I'm so grateful to be inside. And, you know, he has so much hope for the future. And you've got to do your best to look at him and have your eyes reflect that same hope, and just know that you're going to do, you know, whatever it takes to help these people. Because, I mean, they're counting on it. The government's not going to help. It's up to us.
No, the government's going to do worse than the polar opposite of help. In fact, they're going to tear gas these fucking people, and have. I mean, you know, I just think that is probably one of the most telling things. Like, you know, we're on the left perpetually trying to humanize, you know, already marginalized and suffering people for those who don't give a shit or don't care or care about their latest TV show more, right? But to gleefully declare bueno because you're living in a fucking barn? I mean, what must you have been through? What must you have been through?
And this is the thing. He's not even hell-bent on getting into America. He's like, I'll work in Tijuana, I'll work in America, I'll work wherever I can. I just want health care for my daughter. And, I mean, you look in his eyes, and you just see it, you know? He will do whatever it takes for his daughter. I mean, he just wants a better life, and it's just, this is a manufactured crisis. We've always let these people in. This is not about public safety. This is about funding a fucking wall. This is about the wall. This is about, militarizing our borders. And it's at the expense of this little girl right now. And that's what, it's so unforgivable.
And they have spent so much time, especially in this latest administration, demonizing these people and making them out to be this violent, horrible threat of, terrorist MS-13, that they can't just, stop telling that lie, that...
And I can tell you, I'm a 5'7" female walking through that place. I didn't feel frightened one time. I mean, they are so grateful. There are people there to help. Everyone there is so nice. I mean, they're just people. They're just people.
Yeah.
They're people who've just been through trauma, and I can't encourage people enough. If you're in Southern California, if you're in San Diego, if you're in Tijuana, we need volunteers. We need people serving food. There's nothing to be afraid of there. You go there, you walk right in. I mean, I was kind of expecting, federalized with, guns on top of tanks, because that's something you see commonly in Mexico. But, I mean, it was actually a very low-key military presence. I mean, federalized were there, and, a few of them have machine guns, but it wasn't an overwhelming presence. You pretty much just walk right in, and, it's a crisis. People are not busting balls. They know you're there to help. And I really encourage people to go down there and volunteer their time or resources. We need clothing, we need food, we need medicine. You can go to our website, the foundation I work for, minorityhumanitarianfoundation.com, and see about how you can help there. And we need all hands on deck in the situation.
And so it's like, I don't at the risk of sounding like I don't want to minimize the efforts you've already made, but it's like you make one delivery, it's time to start working on the next one. I mean, it's not problem solved with one truckload of supplies. I mean,
we're taking truckloads down every day.
Every day.
And I mean, just the amount of food that's being consumed, and I mean, diapers. This is a marathon.
Can you maybe
constant support? And unfortunately, it's not. I don't know. What I'm afraid of is that the news is going to kind of push this back, and people are going to forget about it, forget this is happening. But the people are there right now. I mean, right now in San Diego, it's raining. It's raining, and there's probably, I would say, 3,500 people outside sleeping in the mud. Some in tents, some in tarps, some completely exposed, and then about 1,500, 2,000 women and children huddled in a barn, and it's cold. It's super cold, and we need people there constantly. We need people serving in the rain. We need people bringing truckloads down. I think bringing supplies down is a big thing. A lot of people want to donate, but they're not willing to bring the supplies down themselves. So we need drivers. We need all hands on deck in the situation.
Fantastic. So can people go onto the website and figure out from there, can they contact you there, verbally, or not verbally, but hey, I can drive. Hey, I have tampons.
Absolutely.
Hey, I have,
Yes. And so that website is minorityhumanitarianfoundation.com. And you can contact us. We'll get everyone all coordinated, and we can do this. And when you go down there, you see what a difference it's making, that people are standing up, and it's inspiring, meeting all sorts of people you've never met before, and everyone's here for the same reason, because these people need us right now.
Fucking
this is messed up. Our government's turning our backs on these people and demonizing them, and I mean, man, I don't even have the words sometimes.
Well, I'm going to tell you that I beyond just impressed. I hate using that terminology, but I mean, it is impressive because, look, aside from what a wonderful, necessary thing it is for these, God, these people have been through so fucking much, and they're going to go through a lot more. So that is alone is just astounding that you and your comrades are doing this work and devoting and volunteering your time to do this. But at the same time, too, from an anarcho-syndicalist perspective, this is key and foundational to creating the world that we want to live in. When you see a crisis, when you see someone in need, when you envision a world that you want, you begin to just make it happen. And I think a lot of people are really waking up to this reality that, hey man, politicians aren't going to do stuff for us. When there's a fucking problem, we are going to have to gather together, engage in mutual aid, and tackle these fucking problems. And Because, God damn it, if these trucks weren't going there, there would be nothing. They would be sleeping in the mud while starving, with no medical supplies, with no Band-Aids, with no diapers for their babies. It's
100%. Yeah, that's exactly what would be happening. And I mean, the people serving food, I can't even imagine what would happen if they weren't there. So, I mean, the area that the shelter is in is impoverished itself. I mean, and the Mexican people in general, there's been a big pushback. They don't want the refugees there.
Right.
And it's really terrible. So they're dealing with it from both sides. And but people are standing up, and people are helping, and I have faith in the community that we don't need the government. We can do this ourselves. And if people need help, we're gonna help them. And every step of the way, from food to getting them asylum. Tomorrow morning, my friend Mark is actually taking the little girl who we took to the hospital. He's helping them go to the border and actually do the asylum paperwork. He got them a number, and he's moving the process along for them. So obviously, there's an urgency issue with her medical condition.
Right.
And so, I mean, every step of the way, it's gonna be a long haul, and there's thousands of more people headed up. So
the struggle goes on. Damn, Jules, thank you so much for coming on and telling us this amazing these story. To put us in touch with these people and what they're a glimpse of what they're going through is just a wonderful privilege to experience. So I really appreciate you doing that. And so all you guys out there, definitely look up, say the name of the website again.
minorityhumanitarianfoundation.com.
Hit them up. You can do stuff. Fucking A, Jules, thank you so much for hanging out.
Word, homie. Have a good night. Thank you.
You too. And keep sharing stuff to the Facebook page, and keep following our Facebook page, because she's been sending updated photos. She admins there, and so she'll keep you up to date what's going on with this effort. So,
all right, guys. Have a good night.
Cool. Thanks, Jules. Bye. So, bro, I mean, the story of this little girl and her father, and wow, and
amazing, huh?
that these people are. It's like they've stopped their lives to go help these people, man. It's so fucking incredibly inspiring. And, So-Cal Shannon said in the family chat, she was talking about, just how important this story is, because we have such a constant barrage of caca that to hear people give of themselves and to hear about that father and the amount of appreciation he has and the hope that he has in the midst of this. After pushing his daughter in a wheelchair for hundreds and...
You do the same thing.
In a second,
you know, you would have.
But there's a reason for all this, and you've heard us constantly kept talking about the Honduran coup. So I'm going to play this video. This is from Al Jazeera.
Because, they want to come over here and take our jobs, right?
They can take our jobs. It's mostly men, and they just put those little women and children up front.
Right, because everything's really beautiful and pretty in their country, and, there's plenty of job opportunities, and... Right?
We all know how keen, hawkish Hillary Clinton is on regime change in the Middle East, in Iraq, Libya, Syria. What often gets forgotten, however, is what she did in Honduras. The fact that Honduras was a democracy didn't stop then Secretary of State Clinton backing regime change even there. Back in 2009, she threw her support behind the coup that ousted democratically elected Honduran President Manuel Zelaya, who was flown out of the country in his pajamas. While the UN, the EU, and the OAS were calling for Zelaya to be immediately reinstated, Clinton was, in her own words, to quote her 2014 memoir Hard Choices, strategizing a plan to restore order in Honduras and ensure that free and fair elections could be held quickly and legitimately, which would render the question of Zelaya moot. A pretty damning admission. Which is probably why she removed it from the paperback edition of her memoir that came out a year later. To make things worse, to this day, Clinton insists, against all evidence, that Honduran institutions followed the law in removing President Zelaya and refuses to call a coup a coup.
Our assessment was we should slow walk and try to stop anything that the government could take advantage of without calling it a coup.
That wasn't the assessment of our own US ambassador on the ground in Honduras at the time, who wrote in an official memo, "There is no doubt that the military, Supreme Court, and National Congress conspired on June 28th in what constituted an illegal and unconstitutional coup." That memo of his includes the word coup a mere 12 times. Maybe Clinton just lost it in all her other emails. But here's the worst part. Earlier this year, Clinton actually congratulated herself on how events in Honduras turned out.
We managed a very difficult situation without bloodshed.
Put aside for a moment that the people of Honduras might not want the US managing situations in their country, to say with a straight face that the whole thing happened without bloodshed is astonishing, given the UN says the murder rate in Honduras went up by almost 50% after the coup, with the return of death squads, ongoing violence, and soldiers accused of murder and torture. Berta Cáceres, the famous Honduran human rights activist who singled out Hillary Clinton for backing the Honduran coup, warned in 2013 that the army has an assassination list of 18 wanted human rights fighters with my name at the top. When they want to kill me, they will do it. In March of this year, Cáceres was shot dead inside her own home. I guess it isn't surprising, is it, that Henry Kissinger and Hillary Clinton are such good friends.
¡Llévaselos para atrás a los putos!
I mean, so there you go, you know, warmongering Republican Party and nothing but just Republicans doing their... Oh, wait, it was Democrats in 2009, wasn't it?
As I recall, yeah, wasn't the election in 2008?
Yeah, weird. So that explains why Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State at the time, because, yeah, she wasn't in the Bush administration. She was in the Obama administration.
No, but she was married to that guy that was president right after Bush the Horrible, yeah?
Well, wasn't he bookended by horrible Bushes?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So, I mean, what was that? Just continuation of the fucking policies that were started under Reagan Bush.
Right. And it's...
What was it, Bush Quayle? Was it that fucking quack? Was it vice president?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no. It would have been... No, it just goes back for... I mean, we've just been meddling in every fucking... You know, and up until just the most recent election, bro. To the most recent election in Honduras, like...
Oh, the one where the Americans threw out the democratically elected president?
Well, but Trump and Kelly had nothing to do with it, is all I'm saying. Fake news and whatever.
Really?
Yeah, fake news and whatever. So, let's check out this fake news.
Fake news.
And then we'll be back.
Fake news.
Honduras is threatening to spiral into chaos after both the opposition leader Salvador Nasrallah and incumbent Juan Orlando Hernandez have claimed victory in presidential elections. In an exclusive interview with RT Spanish, Nasrallah says he's absolutely sure he won the vote. However, the government is claiming victory. For more on these tense situation there, we go to international research associate at the Center for Economic and Policy Research, Jake Johnston. Jake, can you start by outlining some of the irregularities observed in this election?
Yeah, sure thing. Well, the irregularities, truly date sort of well before the election itself. I think before the first vote was cast, the credibility of this election and the electoral authority itself had been called into question. But with regard to this current election, the irregularities really started right after the vote. That was that, in general, there are preliminary results released within a few hours. This year, the first results were not released until 2 a.m. That election night, and then there was a 30-hour delay. Now, those initial results showed the opposition candidate Nasrallah winning by about 5 percentage points. And after that 30-hour delay, when new results started being posted, the trend shifted rapidly and his lead began diminishing. And that is really, this sort of timeline, the delays, and then the computer system failed. There's so many questions that remain around what actually happened. This has really fed this distrust in the system and in the results.
Explain for viewers how we got here to this situation in Honduras. They may forget that just a few years ago, there was actually a coup in the country.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I think so much what we're seeing today in Honduras has the roots in that 2009 coup. And I think sort of even dating before that, I mean, so much is related to the fact of Honduras' sort of special status as a U.S. ally and the site of a U.S. military base. Of course, dating back to the Cold War and Honduran military and government being a close U.S. ally in the Cold War and in our support for the Contras in Nicaragua and elsewhere. And then again in 2009, you had, again, this military-led coup d'etat that many international actors, including the U.S., sort of tacitly backed or ended up, sort of consolidating after the fact. And of course, the president ousted then was Manuel Zelaya. After the coup, he created a new political party called Libre. Libre now has aligned with Nasrallah and is a significant base of that support. And so you're seeing a very similar conflict in terms of the political divide as we did in 2009.
And what about now? Where are things headed? Because some international organizations, for example, the OAS, Organization of American States, were slow to comment on these elections or even endorse them because so many questions still remain.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, the OAS said that we couldn't trust the results. The EU has held off ratifying them. And so we're sort of in this position of limbo where the votes have been at least initially counted. The incumbent, Juan Orlando Hernandez, is running for re-election, appears to have officially the most results, and yet there hasn't been an official winner announced. Of course, the opposition continues to say that they are the actual winner. And so this sort of process is now playing out where, certainly many international actors as well as the government is trying to sort of salvage this process. But, you know, they're trying to sort of put a Band-Aid on a process that everything sort of as indicates needs comprehensive surgery. And, you know, the real question is sort of where to make that first cut. Of course, the sort of greater context around this election, and I think, you know, what has been clear at this point is that this is greater than an electoral crisis. You know, determining a winner of these elections is not going to address the more fundamental problems that have sort of emerged and really been put on stage through this electoral crisis. So you have a curfew in place imposed by the government, military empowered to break up protests. There have been reports of at least 14 protesters killed, and very little accountability, over 1,000 people currently in jail. Last week you had striking police officers accusing their colleagues in the military of actually torturing detainees. And so this is all happening in sort of the context of a burgeoning human rights crisis as well.
We have about 30 seconds left. You mentioned the special relationship Honduras enjoys with the United States. How does that play into the current crackdown we're seeing?
Yeah, I think this is a key point, and one aspect that of course has changed is there's a new president in the White House today. His chief of staff, John Kelly, is the former commander of Southcom, who runs the military base in Honduras. He's referred to Juan Orlando Hernandez, the current president of Honduras, as a great guy and a good friend. There's been a lot of talk about the U.S. State Department and what their role might be after this crisis. I think a lot of people should be looking a little bit closer at the role of Kelly and the White House itself.
All right, we'll unfortunately have to leave it there. Jake Johnston, Research Associate at the Center for Economic and Policy Research. Appreciate your analysis this evening.
Thanks for having me.
We're at the border. You can see that there's children. They just tear gassed a bunch of people, including lots of women and children. Everybody's eyes are burning. Everybody's been peaceful. This is just a smaller group from earlier, but there's still a lot of children and families here.
So basically, dude, what that tells me is, yes, it's no secret that Trump is a liar, but he is he is the worst disgusting type of fucking liar. He knows his own member of his administration is down there fucking with this country's election. There's no way that he doesn't know about the Honduran coup. And he comes out and he's fucking trying to get his administration to fucking make it legal for him to shoot these women and children, bro. That's what Trump wanted to do. Check this video out.
That is firing upon any of these people? Could you see?
I hope not. I hope not. It's the military. I hope there won't be that. But I will tell you this, anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico and the Mexican military, Mexican police, where they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm. Because there's not much difference. When you get hit in the face with a rock, which, as you know, it was very violent a few days ago, very, very violent. That break-in, it was a break-in of a country. They broke into Mexico. And you look at what's happening in Guatemala, just to mention Guatemala, along with El Salvador and Honduras. It's disgraceful that those countries aren't able to stop this, because they should be able to stop it before it starts. And the United States pays them a fortune. And we're looking at not doing that anymore, because why should we be doing that when they do nothing for us? We will consider that the maximum that we can consider that, because they're throwing rocks viciously and violently. You saw that 3 days ago, really hurting the military. We're not going to put up with that. They want to throw rocks at our military fights back. We're going to consider it, and I told them, consider it a rifle. When they throw rocks like they did at the Mexico military and police, I say, consider it a rifle.
Straight up, dude. He knows that these are suffering, disaffected, and displaced women and children, and yes, some men and boys.
You really think he believes that?
Of course he does. Of course he knows that about them, Michael. A member of his administration was down there fucking in the affairs of that country just this fucking year. But he doesn't care. He thinks it serves some purpose for him selfishly. And if it means, yeah, we can make our military shoot them. Because He has to convince his followers that there's a threat when he knows there isn't one. It is so
They're
gross.
throwing rocks.
Throw rocks! In response to tear gas and shit, dude.
The whole fucking thing is political theater. Her fucking... She's secretary... What is she? The Homeland Security, right?
Yeah.
She shows up at the border, and we've got... And he sends... How many troops did he send? 10,000 troops to the border? And wasted how many millions of dollars to wrap razor wire around it for people who weren't really a threat?
And the vast majority of, in terms of the military, the vast majority of which left long before the caravan even showed up.
Was that the same week that the fucking white supremacists went and killed a bunch of people? Like 3 different shootings?
Which one? That happens all the time.
There was like 1 week, there was like 3 of them in 1 week.
Yeah, I mean, this is all in this atmosphere.
So
and at the same time, a bunch of fucking militia shitheads and 3%er fucking morons were geared up with their vests and all their little fucking LARPing Star Wars fucking video game gear and headed down there. And a bunch of Texas people were like, dude, we don't fucking want you here. What are you doing here? Texas residents who were like Republicans, long-time, lifelong, hardcore Republicans going, these... people come. He called them illegals. This guy, so he's not like their buddy, but he's like they come through all the time. They're mostly just asking for help. They're mostly hungry.
They haven't crossed the border yet.
And in this situation, they haven't crossed the border, and they are seeking legal asylum.
So let's shoot smoke bombs at them. They threw rocks at us.
Meanwhile, we got about 10 years left on the planet. But Kylie the Krankenschwester did a video recently called Geoengineering and Climate Change that I'd like to show a quick clip from, and then come back and switch gears over to climate change a little bit.
Check this out. Yeah, this is good.
So a lot of the proposed geoengineering ideas are going to be combating the excess amount of carbon dioxide and also blocking out rays from the sun from it even reaching our atmosphere. So there's plenty of people on YouTube who can explain these projects better than I can. So here's a little montage of proposed geoengineering ideas to combat global warming.
They're so thick that they're reflecting away almost all the sunlight that hits them. As you probably know from walking here today in good old Providence, when clouds block sunlight, it can get cold. So what if you could make clouds more reflective? Well, then the Earth's surface would cool down even more. And that's exactly the goal behind marine cloud brightening. You make the clouds over the oceans more reflective, which would help to lower the planet's temperature. So how do you make clouds more reflective? Well, you do that by increasing the number of those droplets in the cloud. And the proposed way of doing that would be to take these funny-looking vessels, which are actually quite amazing feats of engineering, out into the ocean, where they'd spray a fine mist of seawater into the air. As this mist rises, it would come into contact and mix with a type of low-level cloud that covers 20% of the Earth's oceans, called marine stratocumulus. And so when the salt crystals that were in this salty seawater, when they come into contact with these clouds, they become what we call cloud condensation nuclei. They actually help water condense into more droplets. These more droplets are better at reflecting sunlight, making the cloud, quote unquote, brighter. There you have it, marine cloud brightening, making clouds over the ocean more reflective. And the interesting thing is that modeling has actually shown that if you can brighten enough of these clouds, which you can with a network, theoretically, of those vessels, and for a reasonable price, you could completely counteract the warming that would be caused by doubling today's levels of CO2.
You could put fine particles, say sulfuric acid particles, sulfates, into the upper atmosphere, the stratosphere, where they'd reflect away sunlight and cool the planet. And I know for certain that that will work. Not that there aren't side effects, but I know for certain that will work. And the reason is it's been done. And it was done not by us, not by me, but by nature. Here's Mount Pinatubo in the early 90s that put a whole bunch of sulfur in the stratosphere with a sort of atomic bomb-like cloud. And the result of that was pretty dramatic. After that and some previous volcanoes we have, you see a quite dramatic cooling of the atmosphere.
Geoengineers also see an opportunity in marine phytoplankton, photosynthesizing algae in the ocean that consumes CO2 while providing a base for the marine food chain. When they die, the plankton sink to the bottom of the ocean and their hard little shells smush together and eventually turn into rock, locking away all of that carbon inside of them. So some geoengineers are like, what we need is more phytoplankton. And what phytoplankton really want is iron. Artificially fertilizing the oceans with iron could theoretically create big blooms of algae that'll suck all the CO2 out of the air and then lock it away in the seafloor. But this, of course, is also controversial. When algae blooms decompose, they deplete the oxygen in the ocean, creating huge dead zones where fish and lots of other important stuff can't survive. We know about this because farm runoff is already creating accidental algae blooms all over the world, and they don't seem to be helping the climate any.
They've created carbon capture and storage technologies. Essentially, most companies take that filtered CO2, cool it until the gas becomes a liquid, and then transport it somewhere where they can store it. There are two major ways to do this. One is pretty straightforward, and the other one just seems crazy. The straightforward one is called geologic carbon sequestration. In the States, the U.S. Geological Survey has identified 36 different regions around the country where the CO2 could be injected into porous areas of rock between 3,000 and 15,000 feet underground, and hopefully there it will stay. The second is the crazy one. It's similar, but it's oceanic carbon sequestration. In liquid form, CO2 is actually denser than water. So theoretically, if we just pumped it under the ocean, the water above it would hold it down like a big weighted blanket. A 2013 study in Geophysical Research Letters looked at the viability of pumping liquid CO2 to the bottom of the ocean and determined it would form a lake of liquid carbon dioxide. Yeah, a lake. The high-pressure cold world of the deep sea would then hold it in stasis for maybe 1,000 years. I know what you're thinking, and yes, both of these ideas have their dangers. For example, in geologic sequestration, the pressure of the rock above should keep the CO2 liquid, and it should stay there. Should. But if the CO2 does find its way out of the rock, global disaster. In the undersea example, the implications are also dangerous. CO2 is toxic, remember, so it could drastically increase ocean acidity and deep sea life might not survive. Plus, if it did leak out, global catastrophe again.
Wow. 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 Super cool, right? You can see how these projects and hypotheticals feed the scientific brain with all these mind experiments and brain games of all these potential ways to counteract global warming. Now, I understand that these sound fabulous on paper, but in real life, the risks far outweigh the benefits if we were to implement a large-scale experiment. Obviously, we only have one planet to work with, so we can't really go wrong.
So there you go, man. I mean, she gets into so much more, though. She really covers a lot of real expert, long time involved in climate science. You know, leading people who went to the recent climate summit in California and were like, "Hey, these, cap and trade policies are actually counterproductive. Ultimately, these are the things that we'd like to call for," and they fucking threw them out. And Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! Was actually kind of a trooper about it. She was like getting the interviews and as they're being forced out by the police. Some of the foremost experts on the fucking subject of climate change being thrown out of a climate change event. But that's in the video, and she just really talks about how, like, yes, there are some really fantastic ideas out there, but they have their drawbacks too, and so. But yeah, it's really she covers so much ground. So, and then she did the second video because one of the things that has to do with climate, geoengineering is seed clouding, and she found a whole bunch of information on seed clouding, but it was too much to put in one video. So she did an addendum video that covers that. That is really fascinating too. So please check those out. They're both on our channel. But Daniel Ellsberg was recently on The Real News, and talking about sort of the same subject and what the elite think about it. Now, in the last What the Fuck report, I said this.
And don't give me this bullshit. He's a fucking climate denier. He's not a motherfucking climate denier. He's got a goddamn case pending right now in Scotland for one of his goddamn golf courses because he wants to build a wall because of the rise in the ocean.
Well, and that's the thing, Michael. Listen, Brad. No, that's... Listen, let me say it. Listen. Listen. That is...
are climate deniers for a reason.
For a reason. That's exactly right. They're fascists, man. They fucking know that the planet is like hurling towards its doom, dude. They don't give a shit. I think that they honestly believe... Let me finish, please, Shannon. I think that... I honestly believe that these people think that they're going to survive it. That they're going to let this fucking planet do its thing. That they have their fucking bunkers and their little fucking... Their massive spreads and their... And this is so tinfoil hat, okay? But, like... I think they don't give a shit. I think, yeah, Trump fucking knows that climate change is real. Give me a break. I mean, as made evident by the precautions he's taking for his golf courses, like you described, Mike. But you don't give a fuck. There's a lot of people that are making money hand over fist every fucking minute of every fucking day, and they want to continue making it. So they're seeing all this destruction. They're seeing Hurricane Maria and all these hurricanes, and they're seeing all these fires and going, yeah, fucking mismanagement.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Immigrant caravans and whatnot. Immigrants are fucking up the environment. And, yeah.
Let me just say one thing. Let me say something. Okay. You said that Mother Earth was, hurling towards her doom. No, she's not. You know who's hurling towards their doom? Fucking humanity. Mother Earth will rebound. And
well, I agree with that. Okay, so Daniel Ellsberg goes on the Real News and straight up says, I was checking out the last What the Fuck report, and what Reverend Aaron said was some real deal shit. And then we went to a tattoo party with Christian Hosoi, you, me, Daniel Ellsberg. But anyway, check this out. This is Daniel Ellsberg on the Real News just this last week. And kind of, just confirmation bias is really, truly, let's be real. That's what it is. But here, check it out. No one will go.
Self-assured destruction, not mad, but sad, self-assured destruction. A war between the U.S. and Russia would be suicidal for each and essentially omnicidal, to use a term of John Somerville, a philosopher, killing everything. Not quite everything. Some humans would almost surely survive to do it all again, in effect. But most larger animals would not. They're not as adaptable as we are. They can't move thousands of miles to a different latitude. They don't have fire and houses and whatnot. They would all die, as happened under the dinosaurs.
In Dr. Strangelove says, build in deep mine shafts, build bunkers, build a whole underground civilization to survive this.
The 1% is essentially preparing for that.
That's what I meant. And were they at your
survivalists?
Time? Did you have a bunker to go to?
I did
you have
not.
A number?
I did not, but my boss, head of the RAND Economics Division, Charlie Hitch, later controller in the Defense Department, did build a bomb shelter. And actually, Willard Libby of the Atomic Energy Commission had a bomb shelter during the missile crisis, which burned about that time, which Edward Teller, which Leo Szilard said that proved that not only God exists, but he had a sense of humor.
Do they have now some kind of underground that elites can go to?
I think that planning for either climate change or nuclear weapons or a winter is, we know, going on by the billionaires, by some fraction of them, survivalists who do plan to survive all this, and possibly could, if they can get down to New Zealand and have their bubble atmosphere in effect, and their robots working for them, and their own artificial sunlight and whatnot during this, grow some crops during that. I think they actually, some of them figure on surviving. It won't be America. It won't be anywhere that exists today, particularly. It'll be like living in a submarine, essentially. And some people do that for months at a time. And our nuclear submarines, each one of them capable of destroying most life on Earth. We have 14.
Okay, so I exaggerated a little bit. He didn't actually say my name or whatever, but you could totally tell him and Paul were like giving the wink off, you know. You know, we saw the what the fuck report and shit, yeah, you know, but we're scumbag fucking punk rockers and they didn't want to actually say our name on the real news, you know. But, fuck you, Paul J. No, I love Paul J, actually. That just stone-faced, stoic, no frills motherfucker brings the legit. The name of the real news is accurate, man. They really do bring the real news. But yeah, man, I mean, like, look, I don't think that's like conclusive proof that I was right, that the elite are building bunkers and these kind of things, and that think they're gonna outlive this climate change shit.
No, but I you know? Definitely agree that they think that with enough money they can buy anything, which even eternal life. I mean, come on, shit. Like Michael Jackson was sleeping in a hyperbaric chamber, what, back in the 80s and 90s? Yeah, because he had a butt ton of money. He thought it would make him live longer.
And just like what Kylie pointed out in her video about how, like, if you're wealthy enough and you don't want it to rain on your wedding day.
Oh my God, I can't wait to do that. Oh no, never mind.
But I mean, that just sets us that puts people in a certain mindset that, like you just said, we can buy anything. We can buy our way through.
Trust me, I see that mindset.
We can buy our way through catastrophic global climate change because we're really, really rich, and we just have these, you know, amazing spreads. You know, there's a lot of talk about a lot of very, very well. This is kind of conspiratorial tinfoil hat, but so don't quote me on it unless you're wearing a tinfoil hat when you do. But that a lot of very, very, very wealthy 1%ers, you know, 1% of the 1% are buying up huge swaths of property in South America and building, you know, big mansions and stuff because they predict that south of the equator is sort of the place to be. If you're going to be anywhere on the planet, like south of the equator is, I guess, have better chances of...
if that's true, I'm going to New Zealand.
There's a lot of fucking racists over in Australia and New Zealand now, dude. But there is in America too, so I don't know. we share a lot of video from like
it's pretty much on the very bottom.
Well, we share a lot of shit from Antifa Australia, and there are some real serious fucking hardcore races in Australia. But they didn't let Gavin McGuinness in. Even racist old Australia was like, yeah, not that dude. Yeah. He tried to go there for a speaking tour.
They're saying the same thing about us, going, oh yeah, but he lives there.
He was apparently trying to get there with Tommy Robinson. You remember who Tommy Robinson is? Dude from England that we covered, the hardcore xenophobic scumbag.
Oh yeah! Oh my God! Yeah, that's right.
And so it just didn't happen. Neither one of them were able to go. And Tommy Robinson for some other reason. Apparently they were going to let that scumfuck in, but no.
I'm going to say though, racism, it doesn't see any borders. I mean, I know it was existent in the 80s. I've never been there. I would love to go there. We have a lot of, God dang it, hang on. Excuse me. We have a lot of Australian and New Zealand tourists that come here. And I haven't had a chance to talk to them. Did see one guy in a Midnight Oil t-shirt, though. But, I mean, it doesn't... what I know is that it was against the Aboriginal people that live there, the Aborigines. So, but I mean, like, yeah, sure, let's be racist against the fucking people that own the place that lived here before.
Which is what we do here. We're like, fuck these indigenous people. Let's give them fucking disease blankets, you know?
Yeah, so, yeah, it's a horrible, awful sickness.
So here's this thing that I'm sensing a pattern between three sort of very linked things, like climate change, disgusting racism, and the 1%. All three of which know no borders.
Yeah, climate change. Yeah, right?
And they all three really serve each other very well and feed off of each other and boost each other's efforts.
Sounds like capitalism to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think climate change has thoughts. I don't think climate change gets together and has meetings. It's not a sentient entity, but
the climate is doing the climate is reacting to how it's being treated.
And if you're a trillionaire, you can fucking buy a bunker in South America. But hey, what's that?
Oh my God. It's time for the So-Cal Shannon Scene Report.
And maybe even the So-Cal Shannon Scene stuff. Like, whatever. Hey, Shannon.
Aloha, Shannon.
Hey, Mike.
What is happening? You're not evacuated anymore, but you might be again.
Actually, we haven't gotten anything this time around.
So
I didn't go out of the house today. It rained all since like 5.
So people know what we're talking about. You know, everyone knows about all the fires in Southern California, but now it's rain season and there's all this fire debris and no trees to stop like mudslides and rain. So when it rained, Shannon was forced to be evacuated earlier this week, and thankfully her home was not washed away. But yeah, you have to be on guard every time it rains. Who knows? You're waiting for a fucking evacuation notice now, right? I mean,
yeah, because it's a burn area, so it's high flood. It's a canyon, so it's like that anyway. You have flash flood warnings and stuff like that, but this is debris flow and mud and all that.
Well, I'm glad you're not surfing a mudslide, but you do have a fucking scene report. Oh, well, I'm going to say, after the scene report, we're going to talk about, is alt-right the new punk rock? I made a short video recently, and I just want to hear these two fucking posers' opinions on the issue. But like I said, you do have a scene report. But did you have a video picked out for us this week?
No.
No. Why don't we pick the? Well, you know what though?
But then I forgot.
You know, actually, we've been having all kinds of fucking technical difficulties around here with our camera and shit. We've actually tried this week. This is our 3rd attempt at a What the Fuck report this week. But you did have a song picked out before. That's fucking awesome.
Should I stay or should I go?
No.
No, that wasn't the song.
That was not the song.
That was the song for the last one.
I'm pretty sure wasn't it Eddie James?
The Darkness.
No, it was The Darkness.
It was The Darkness. Oh my God, not The Darkness. You guys in your darkness. Oh my god. Aaron loves the darkness.
I don't love them, but they're fucking great. They're a great band, man. They're real. They are that. They're not playing a game. That's not like a gimmick.
He can actually do that heavy metal voice. Yeah. There were so many people trying to do that, way more obnoxiously than him even. But he can actually sing that falsetto. He can do it. Anyway.
So let's get into the scene report, Shannon. What you got for us this week?
The scene report starts this Saturday, December 8th, in Santa Ana, Orange County. At the observatory is the adolescents.
Tony! With who? Sorry? With who?
With DOA, Channel 3, and the Croissants. The Croissants. I can't do it French.
What is
I'm not good at accents.
So what? DOA, what is his official title now? Prime Minister shithead or some shit? He won office in his own town. He's on the city council or something.
Did he?
I can't remember what.
In what city?
Joey Shithead from DOA.
I know, but what city?
He's
Canadian.
I think he's near Vancouver. I'm pretty sure, but
yeah, that's like Quebec or someplace.
He's not in a major. He's not in a major metropolitan city. I think he's in a smaller city near Vancouver.
My niece is. Oh, I'm sorry. You said Vancouver. My niece lives up there, and her husband's on strike. He's a mail carrier, or they call it the post, but I don't know. I don't think they call them mail carriers. They call them something else. Anyway.
Yeah, I totally cut you off, though, before you could give us the details of this amazing
And
gig.
then I went into that, so there we go. So it's at the observatory in Santa Ana. Who remembers when it was called the Galaxy? Do you remember the Galaxy?
I never went to the Galaxy.
I think it was the Galaxy up until the mid-90s. I don't know. Anyway. It starts at 8 o'clock, and it's all ages, $18 at the door. And the same night, in Long Beach at Alex's Bar, the Stitches, the Vultures, and Tenement Rat. Starts at 8 o'clock, $12. At the door, 21 and up.
God, the Stitches, they've been around a long time now. Like, I did a show for them, I think it was at the Red Room, like, almost 20 years ago. Right? I mean, Stitches have been around a long time. Right.
It's been a while. Okay, are you ready?
I'm just sitting here waiting.
Well, I thought you were gonna.
No, that's all.
Somewhere else.
They're fucking great, though. I think they're fantastic. Great fucking rock and roll, man.
Sunday the next day, Part-Time Punks presents. Say that 10 times fast. Is it Pylon? Or yeah, it's Pylon reenactments. I can't talk, apparently. The Tissues and the Traps PS. That's at the Echoplex in LA at 8 p.m. $18 at the door. Alice Bag was gonna play this, but she has pneumonia, so she had She had to cancel. But yeah, it should be a good show.
Oh man, get well soon. Please, Alice. Take care of yourself.
Yep. December 10th, so I guess that's Monday. Union del Barrio in Los Angeles is hosting a march in support of the Caravan on International Human Rights Day. It starts at Alvera Street in downtown LA at 4:30 p.m. That's all I wrote.
Fantastic.
I swear to goodness, I thought I wrote another paragraph because they're making a couple demands, and I listed that, but it's on the event page, and I'll share that.
Excellent.
And then the last one, we skip to the next weekend, is Friday, December 14th in LA. The Party for Socialism and Liberation is hosting a screening of Screaming Queens, the riot of Compton's the riot at Compton's cafeteria. You guys know what that is?
I don't.
It's in 1966 there was an uprising at Compton's cafeteria, and it's like the first LGBTQ uprising in the United States, I guess that people know it, the recorded one.
Gotcha.
Anyway, so they're hosting that. Yeah, it doesn't say the place, it just gives the address. It starts at 7:30, and the address is 2936 West 8th Street in Los Angeles. That should be good. And I wonder, I would like to see that. I've never seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to be able to go to that, but I want to see it. Damn it. I never heard of the documentary.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Excellent. Thank you thank you, Shannon.
Thank you. Can I plug?
Yes.
Skate and Kink, December 15th at Rise Above Skate Shop.
In Rialto.
In 150 North Baseline in Rialto.
So this gig is actually, Michael, this gig is actually at the skate shop?
Yes, it's actually at the skate shop.
Fucking awesome.
So, skating starts at 5, bands start at 8. Let me see what else I can tell you. They have a game of skate, best trick contest. Mickey O'Keefe from Dock Down Skates will be there. Ghost from Hurt Life will be there. Cerebro Negro, Rabbit Assault, and Palm Trio are 3 of the bands that are playing. Yep.
And they're all pick it up ska bands?
Apparently.
Fantastic.
Skate and Skink.
Hey, so, Shannon, stick around with us. I'm going to play this here video. You may have seen it on our channel already. It's short. It's like 5 minutes. And then we'll come back. And then we'll discuss the cultural appropriation that the right wing is notorious for since there was a right wing. Just one more example of their sorry fucking attempts at cultural appropriation.
God.
Alright, so we'll be right back. Okay, guys, so I wanted to make basically a really short video addressing this notion some of you may have heard of the alt-right is the new punk rock. I want to assure you that it most definitely is not, but there's a reason why these people amongst the alt-right believe that. And I think I get why they believe that. Now, so one of the things that I've always loved about the punk rock community and why I've been a lifelong devotee of it is because it's so varied. And it has within it all these other different sort of subcultures. So under this sort of umbrella of punk rock, you've got, you know, two-tones and ska, and you've got goth, and you've got straight edge, and you've got, you know, hardcore thrash, and so on and so on and so on, and vegan, and riot girl, and all these things have their own unique and distinct features, while all sort of fitting under that larger umbrella of punk rock. So there are some some unifying ideas and similarities amidst all these sort of smaller groups. And ultimately what I'm describing are affinity groups, and which is the nature of anarcho-syndicalism ultimately. But, so like I said, I'll recap real quick. You have punk rock, right? And this is nothing new. I know, I understand. Bear with me. But yes, you have this larger thing called punk rock, and underneath it is goth and riot girl and vegan straight edge. You know, all these different little subsets have their own smaller subsets with underneath them, like different takes on what straight edge means to people, right? Now, all of that aside, if you look at the alt-right and right-wing circles in general, it hints at looking the same. Okay, because you have, you know, your Proud Boys that all wear their little matching uniform shit, which ultimately I just heard they're doing away with the Fred Perrys. Oh, fuckers. Second attempt at cultural appropriation of Fred Perry. Defeated. I digress. So you have all these subcultures within the right wing, right? You have militia groups and, like I said, Proud Boys. There are men's rights activist groups and incels and white nationalists and straight up neo-Nazi groups, right? And they all have their distinct features and personalities and sort of looks and uniforms. And but they do have a number of also sort of unifying principles and that they all agree upon. And of course, there are you know, exceptions to every rule within the group. There's not any one standard that sort of unites them all. I mean, Trump is a big one at this point, but that's not it. It's usually another thing. And if it's not that one thing, if it's not Trump, it's going to be this other thing that unites all the groups. A lot of it's like bigotry is a big one. You know, I mean, you may only be, you know, you may not be racist, but, you know, you're sexist or misogynist, or you may not be sexist or misogynist, but you're homophobic, right? I mean, so in the broader scheme, it starts to look a lot like that punk rock culture I described, right? And so they have stepped back in their fucking ignorant cultural appropriation party here and went, this kind of looks like this punk rock thing that we never fucking understood to begin with. But it does. Like, dude, like we have all kinds of different groups that look different too and stuff and have their distinct things, but it's all, you know, the right or alt-right or alt-light or whatever. So like, we're the new punk rock. And I got fucking, like, blaring news for you fools. You fucking ain't. Like, one of the things that united all of these punk rock things was freedom of expression, solidarity with, like, those oppressed by power, and fucking virulent anti-authoritarianism. You blue line flag, cop-supporting, military bootlicking, Trump-licking morons couldn't possibly be punk rock. Now, that doesn't mean I'm punk rock. And who gives a shit if I am or not? One thing I do know is you ain't. You cannot be right-wing and be a punk rocker. Now, whether I got the bona fides to cut it or not, that's a whole nother fucking story. And who gives a shit, right? But one thing I do know is I've been a part of this thing my whole life. I'm almost 48 years old. And I went to my first gig at like when I was 12, I think. So I've been around this thing for a long time, and there isn't a single thing within the rhetoric and the ideology within the alt-right that I recognize from punk rock. Other than when we had that little pesky problem with Nazi boneheads back in the late 80s and early 90s that got fucking handled. But yeah, I just wanted to address, is alt-right the new punk rock? Nope. Okay, so I mean, I think I pretty much cleared it up, right? I mean, I covered it. It's now settled. You guys are fucking complete idiots, man. I mean,
like, what is it? Because it's edgy. Ooh, so they're edgy because you know what? They're what the minimal. They're the third. There's what 1/3, 33%, and getting less that support this fucking asshole. So you know this far right. You know your guys are like you know. The minority now, so you're like the edgy. Is that what it is? Fuck you.
Yeah, that's what they think, bro. Like, you know, the first time
nobody that was into punk rock in the 80s supported Reagan.
We rallied around despising that fucking dude. You know, it was like one of our organizing principles. It was like, oh, you fucking hate Reagan too? Oh god, I fucking hate that dude. You know?
Do you remember any band? Do you remember any band that wrote anything pro Reagan back then?
Even Screwdriver didn't get around to writing that one. But no, fucking...
How about Bush? Were there any pro-Bush?
No. No.
Punk rock?
No.
I don't know. That gets maybe iffy even.
I
Tea
can't.
Party brought out some freaky shit.
Well, you know, the first time I heard this, or was even introduced to this term, alt-right is the new punk rock, was on April 15th in MLK Park, and that big clash when everyone was pushing the dumpster back and forth and all that. And I just saw some dude wearing this shirt, and it was like, what?
Like, I thought that was just a joke.
Right. No, they think it.
That people like us said. I didn't know that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Right. That's fucking ridiculous.
Well,
I don't know how these people believe this shit.
You remember Mike Ness beat up that dude with wearing the MAGA hat that stood there and he was all pissy at him because he talked shit on Trump.
Right.
And I was just,
you know, and he's like,
you probably should the 3%er thing on their car. It wasn't really a blue flag fucker flag. It was just a black and white flag. And the Clash. And the Clash. And I'm like, what the fuck? What was he listening to? What did he hear? What?
The music's cool.
The fuck?
That's the bottom line.
I know, but I guess
cool.
I don't know.
Well,
not
look.
everybody listened to words.
What happened? What happened was, I mean, there was a minute there where punk rock went mainstream, and a lot of people were exposed to a lot of real punk rock. And dude, the Clash sold out Shea Stadium 3 fucking days in a row. Okay, so like a lot of people know who the Clash is, but they know "Rock the Casbah" and "Should I Stay or Should I Go," and which are fucking great songs, but like they don't know Spanish Bombs. They don't know fucking "Lost in the Supermarket."
Was about, you know, I mean,
yeah, I mean, just completely. It's the same thing as the guys with
they
the
were
don't.
singing about the time.
The people with the "Don't Tread on Me," and then the blue line sticker. You know, it's like you have absolutely no fucking idea who's treading on you, you fucking dipshit. Like,
man, that reminds me of somebody. Oh man, that reminds me of somebody.
does it have noodles in its McDoodle? I'm sure it does.
I don't know. People are stupid. But then people that don't listen to music, like Trump doesn't do drugs. I don't think he listens to music either. I swear to God, I don't think he's like a music
Animals don't like
he
him.
uses music for shit, but he doesn't really listen to it.
No.
You know what I mean?
He doesn't do drugs. He doesn't
No, and here's the thing, guys. It's like
he probably bought drugs for people back in the day in the 80s when he was at the fucking discotheques and stuff, but he didn't.
Oh, I'll bet you he did a little.
No, he didn't.
No, he's a fucking freak like that. He doesn't even drink.
He's a teetotaler, man. He's an ignorant, foul-mouthed, racist teetotaler. But you know, these guys, they think that because, you know, here's the thing. It's like us punks, we were truly misunderstood and demonized when we started rallying around at this community or this thing, right? And there's people to this day who think because they heard our vulgarity and our total comfort with, like, confronting establishment norms and societal norms that they didn't understand why we were lashing out against those things at that time. And like, so they just perceived us as like, oh, you just like, you know, being offensive for the sake of being offensive. I don't know how many fucking times I've heard that, Mike. Oh, you just want to be rude or vulgar. And it's like, that's not it. It's like, your shit is disgusting, and I'm not going to fucking act like it's not, you know? But
being rude and vulgar can be fun too, though.
But they have taken that. There's so many people who really believe that that's what punk rock is all about. And so now they're like, so I'm going to be that. You know, like all the people who think Gigi Allen is awesome. And they think being disgusting scumbags is punk rock because this one scumbag was part of our scene for a minute before he died from being a fucking scumbag. And like, but then, you know, so when Hillary comes along and calls them deplorables, they think they're the misunderstood fucking,
honor.
Yeah, and it's like, no, the thing is, you fucking people are deplorable. You're disgusting, man. You guys troll fucking murder victim families and fucking, you know, you're calling for shooting women and children at the border. Like, you're fucking deplorable and disgusting. And like, you're what us punk rockers have been railing against since before '77, since garage punk, and when they didn't even call it garage punk yet. What's that?
Do this. It's not you. It's me. It's not. This is us. It's like we're not doing that. Yeah, no, you are. I mean, they accuse us of doing, the left, I guess, of doing, the exact same thing that they're doing. We're the fascists. Remember,
they're the king. They're the masters. They own projection. It's like they practically invented projecting. And
exactly.
And I've really just become convinced that if a Republican or a conservative accuses you of something and they're really adamant about it, they've done it. They've done that thing. I mean,
or they're doing it. Yes.
Right. But
yeah, it makes me wonder about Mike Pence.
Mike Pence is so terrifying.
He's so anti-gay.
And you know what I've been hearing is that within the church community and Pence himself, they really believe that there's sort of he's the guy. So one of the ways that the evangelical community is able to excuse their shit or Trump's just nastiness and stuff is that Pence is there making sure, steering him and nudging him along in little ways with his little evangelical magic, and keeping it in check and fucking...
His evangelical magic. I mean, like
he sprinkles a little Jesus dust on him and fucking,
trickle down green guns.
Yeah, dude. And this is what they believe. The ones who are conflicted over Trump's disgustingness they think, and they're just biding their time.
He's okay because Mike Pence thinks he's okay.
And Trump and Pence is convinced that God wants him to be president and stuff. And this is the chatter within the evangelical communities. They're fucking lost their fucking ever-loving minds, the evangelical community. I mean, look, I grew up in it, and it was wacky as fuck. But, like, it was 1/10 of what it is now. They're just off the rails completely. And I think Shannon was telling me we lost her audio. Is that right, Shannon? Yeah, I can't hear you.
It looks like we lost her audio.
Did you mute your own audio? You gotta
tell us to fuck off.
Probably, yeah. Well, look, I think we kind of covered it anyway. And listen, I love you, Shan. I'm sorry we lost your sound.
Goodbye, I love you too, sweetheart. You have a good night. Please don't get evacuated or kicked off Facebook again.
Hey, I love you too, bro. And listen, thanks for hanging out for another What the Fuck report. Please subscribe. Please check out our Facebook page and share lots of stuff there.
Thank you for sharing the stuff that you have been sharing. Thank you for checking out our Facebook page. Check out our Twitter.
And thanks to everyone that's been hanging out with us.
On there too.
Thanks to everyone that's been hanging out with us in our premiere live chats, like Soberpunk and Mr. Black. And I'm going to fucking forget people because I didn't plan on doing the shout-outs thing, and I should have, and wrote a list, because there's a bunch of you now, and it's fucking tripping me the fuck out, but it's amazing. And anyway, thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Thanks, Shannon. Love you guys. Peace out.
Neighbor, welcome again to this neighborhood. I'd like to show you something. You know what this is? Well, maybe if I press this button. This is a cassette player with a little cassette in here, and there's nothing written on it, so we'll just have to play it to see what it is. Do you ever imagine things? Are they scary things? Are they scary things? Do you ever imagine things? Things you'd like to have? Did you ever see a cat's eyes in the dark and wonder what they were? Did you ever pretend about things like that before? Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think and they'll grow. Imagine every person that you see is somewhat different from every other person in the world. Some can do some things, some can do others. Did you ever think of the many things you've learned to do? Many things. Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think and they'll grow. Did you feel like going like that? Let's give the fish some food. Mr. McFeely, I didn't order any whistles. That's what they call these slide whistles. Did you feel like going like that? There are so many things to learn about in this world, and so many people who can help us learn. Did you ever grow anything in the garden of your mind? You can grow ideas in the garden of your mind. It's good to be curious about many things. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think. You can think about things and make believe. All you have to do is think and they'll grow.